Hello there everyone, welcome to a new video. It is me, Desiree. Okay. Thanks for clicking on my video. We are here today to discuss my 2019 honorable mentions. Products that almost were yearly favorites, but for some reason there's a flaw with them, or I haven't been using them long enough. Just for some reason, they're not a favorite of the year for some reason. And their products just missed the cut. So let's just start talking about my honorable mention, shall we? I have this face palette here from Cover FX. This is called the Perfector Face Palette. I have the one for light to medium. And this is what it looks like. It comes with a contour, a blush, 2 highlighters, a brightener, which I don't know what the difference with highlighter and brightener is because I feel like they all perform exactly the same. And then a finishing powder that has a lot of sparkle in it. You probably can't tell, but there's glittery sparkles in it. And I like this palette a lot. The compact is beautiful. Packaging is A+. Cover FX, I think, is a really nice brand. I really enjoy a lot of their products. They are on the more expensive side. This is an expensive palette, and it's too pigmented for me. I always wanted to buy one of their compacts they have now that's like a blush and a... Is it a blush and a highlighter, or blush and a bronzer? But I know they're going to be way too pigmented, and because this is so pigmented, I'm afraid of them. I just can't use this as leisurely as I might like and dip in and use it. I have to be so careful because it's just so pigmented. The blush, you can hardly even tell I've touched it. Highlighters, way over the top for me. The brightener is the one I would use more often as a highlighter instead. And it's really, really lovely. Just really pops on the cheeks. Finishing powder I haven't touched yet. I have no interest in using it. It just has a lot of sparkle in it. So yeah, it's not, I like this palette a lot. It's definitely just over the top pigmented, a little too intense, but it is really, really lovely. And I just wanted to give it a little shout out because I do love it. It's just a little, I have to be too careful using it. So it's not a yearly favorite, but it's still something I really like. Oh my gosh, let's talk about this palette. You're going to be shocked. Maybe you won't be because you don't know me very well, or have heard me talk about the Balms eyeshadows and how much I hate them. I don't like the Balms eyeshadows. They are awful. But I saw this palette, this Foiled Again palette at Ross. At Ross, believe it or not. Can't remember how much it was. I know it was under $10. And I was like, you know what? I'll buy it because it's on sale. But I know I'm going to hate it. Like, it just, I don't know why I bought it. Let me tell you, this is really good. I cannot believe how much I like this. I cannot believe I even like it. And it's wonderful. The mattes down here, unlike any mattes I've ever tried from the Balm, they are pigmented, they blend well, they're soft, and all of these shades up here are foiled. I wouldn't say they're like foiled. I think nowadays, even just regular shimmers seem to be like they're foiled. But they are really, really pretty. They are pigmented. I did pick up big swatches, so it looks kind of chunky. They blend super well. They look beautiful on the eyes. They go on really nice with your fingers or a brush. I cannot believe how much I like this. I haven't had it very long, which is why it's not a yearly favorite. I haven't really dug into every single shade, but I wanted to give it a shout out because I'm really, really enjoying this a lot right now. And I think this is definitely one of the best eyeshadow palettes they've ever done, if not their only good one. Had to give it a quick shout out. Let's move on to something else. Let's talk about 2 foundations. So I have 2 foundations that are honorable mentions. One is the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Water Foundation. This is actually something that was a sample that I had to buy full size. I love the formula of this a lot. It's really thin. It lasts all day. It has nice coverage. It's just, it oxidizes a touch. I feel like it's almost a whole shade different. By the time I'm done with my makeup, I notice it throughout the day. It just looks different. And so it oxidizes, which is why I'm not going to name it as a yearly favorite. But the formula is wonderful of this. I don't want to return it and then get a lighter shade, you know, to kind of make up for the oxidizing part. Because I just feel like they're going to throw this in the trash. I feel kind of bad. So I just keep it. I keep using it because I like it. It just oxidizes a touch. And then one thing I thought was going to be a yearly favorite. But back in about October time, I pulled out all my yearly favorites that I thought were contenders. And I was using them like crazy. And to see if I really truly still like love that thing. And this I could have sworn was going to be a yearly favorite. It's the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Foundation. I have the shade here 420, and this is something that I have loved. I think the coverage is wonderful. It blends super easy. The shade range is really, really good. Formula, great. Everything is really good about this. But once I started reusing it again, I feel like it's too light, which is not the fault of the product, it's just the shade. I feel like it's a little lighter than I like right now. and I could see it on my face. I don't know if I had just been using too much, but it was like settling into my lines. I could see it on my face no matter how much I blended, no matter what primer I used. I don't know what it was, because I could swear this was going to be yearly favorite. I've loved this all year. But right now, it's like not, it just missed the cut because I started reusing it and it just wasn't working the same. I don't know what it was. It's kind of weird. I wanted to mention a couple of other eyeshadow palettes. I have the Lolita Por Vida from Kat Von D. This is a newer purchase to me, and it's really, really good. But this glitter shade is disgusting. I cannot stand glitter shades like that. I don't know why every brand has to put them in their palettes, because I don't like them. They should just make a separate small little trio or a 6-pan palette of all the glitter shades they're ever going to do, and just put them aside. If someone wants those glitter shades, they could buy them on their own. Otherwise, it's just in here. I just almost want to scoop it out. I just hate it. And then a couple of the shades, like these other two foiled ones here that look really lovely, I can't get them to work good all the time. And at first, I was loving them. They look really beautiful. This one here, especially on a bare lid with nothing on it, it's great. But I find when you already have eyeshadow on or some powder may have gotten on the lid, they don't apply on top of it as well. They go on really great on your bare lid just with primer. Looks amazing. But on top of the powders, it just doesn't look that good. You got to build it up quite a bit. And I just don't like that. But all the mattes in here are wonderful. The other shimmers in here are good. I cannot believe how much I like this palette, because I've never really been a fan of Kat Von D's eyeshadows either. It's not a favorite, obviously, because there are a few flaws with the middle row here. But it's a really lovely palette. I don't regret buying it. Just wanted to give it a quick shout out. I have a highlighter I want to mention, a couple highlighters. The Cover FX Spotlight Loose Powder Highlighters, I just did a video on these. These are really, really lovely. The reason they are not a yearly favorite is because of the packaging. And they do each come with their own little sifter. It's just you have to open each one up and then dump it either into the lid or kind of just mush your brush into the holes here. Because if you dump it onto the lid, you're always going to pour more than you need. And you're just going to have it here sitting and then put it back on top, or toss it, or keep it, and then the next time you use another color, it's going to mix in there. I just don't feel like the packaging was that thought out as well. I do really like Cover FX though. And I don't think every shade in here is something that everyone's going to love. I personally like all three of the shades, but you know, not every shade's going to work for everybody. I feel like they could have done something a little different with the packaging. I don't know what they could have done, but it's just the kind of packaging design that's keeping it out of the yearly favorites. But the formula is really, really good. Here's something outside. The next thing that is, oh my God, I fell in love with this the moment I put it on. I'm going to re-put some highlighter on for you. This is Becca's new highlighter. It's called Pearl Glow Luster Glow Powder in the shade Pure Pearl. Oh Lord, this is freaking beautiful. They released this and an eyeshadow palette. Want the palette really bad, didn't bite the bullet, but I did get the highlighter. The package feels really, really light compared to how Becca usually is, and this is what it looks like. Look at it. It looks beautiful. I've only been dipping into the same spot every time, so I didn't want to mess it up. But I am going to put this on for you now. It's just so beautiful. And I was going to do a video on this highlighter on its own, like comparing it to the other Becca highlighters that are out right now and the other ones they have in their line, but I can't describe the color. I cannot describe this color. It is pinky, champagne-y. It looks a little bit like the rose quartz one, but not really. I swatched a ton of highlighters the other day trying to find a dupe. I don't have one, but it's wonderful. It's not as crazy intense as Becca's highlighters normally are for me. You can definitely build it up. I have been loving this. I've worn it as eyeshadow. I absolutely adore this thing. It's not a yearly favorite because I just got it. You know, I've only had this a week or two, maybe 2 weeks, and I bought it the second it released. It's just not, I haven't had it enough to be a yearly favorite, but this was something I loved on first use. It's so good. And then I have a couple more eyeshadow palettes I want to mention that I really have been loving, but they're not yearly favorites for one reason or another. The first one, Makeup Geek. So if you know, I love the quad called Joyful Jade that Makeup Geek has. It blows my mind. It's obviously going to be in the yearly favorites. But I didn't have a really good experience previously with her eyeshadows. Until I tried that, I was like, no freaking way. This is Makeup Geek. She's freaking amazing. So I bought this palette on Makeup Geek's website. It's called In the Nude. No, it's called Nude Awakening. And it's all nude eyeshadows. These are the freaking bomb. I have never tried a formula like this. I cannot believe I've been sleeping on Makeup Geek all these years because this is a freaking wonderful formula. It's a knockout. It is soft but rich. It is just like a formula you want to rub between your fingers. I cannot believe how, oh gosh, it's so beautiful. I swatched these swatches all messed up. Well, there's a couple right there. I love this formula with all my low heart. Cannot believe how good it is. I wanted to shout it out. I just got these, so obviously I can't say it's a yearly favorite, but oh my lord, this palette is amazing. And then I went and bought a bunch of Makeup Geek singles. She was having a crazy sale online, so I bought a ton of them. There some of the power pigments up here, and then a bunch of singles down here. Obviously, I haven't used them all, or even any of these really. I've swatched some, but I've really been stuck on that Nude Awakening palette. But I had to shout it out. I wish it could be a yearly favorite. I wish I tried it earlier in the year. Oh my god, so freaking good. Blew me away. Had to give it a shout out. And then a formula I just want to mention is Melt Cosmetics. This is the Gemini palette. The first Melt palette I ever bought was the one called, it's right there. It's Impulsive. It's called the Impulsive palette. It's very hit and miss. It was really expensive for how awful a lot of the eyeshadows are, but the mattes were a huge standout, and so I bought this one because it was mostly matte. There are 2 shimmers in here. I don't love their shimmer formula. I feel like it doesn't stick on the lid too well. It's a little bit, I don't know, just don't like it. The mattes are spectacular. So good. They are rich, pigmented, blendable. They all go really well together as far as this palette being curated really nicely. I love this palette. The shimmers in here kind of keep it out of the favorites video, but I wanted to shout out the formula because it's so good. And then I wanted to mention this Caution mascara from Hourglass. This is the Caution Extreme Lash Mascara. I loved the mini of this so much that it made me buy the full size. The full size feels like it's drying out really quickly, and it feels and seems stickier than the mini ones do. Like to open it, I feel like I need to clean it off already. But it doesn't look messy, but it's getting stuck every time I open it. It's a wonderful mascara, but this full size one I feel is a little more sticky than the mini one. And like it dries really fast. You got to build it up really quickly. I love this formula, but I just don't love this full size one. I don't know what it is. But I wanted to mention it because I thought it was going to be a yearly favorite when I had the mini, but this one is just like, just missed the cut. It's just not the same. And I don't want to mention the full size. I want to mention the mini. And then the last thing I want to mention is Juvia's Place, just in general. This is not a brand I discovered this year, but I wanted to shout out this eyeshadow formula because this is a formula I've never really loved. I find it too hard to work with. This happens to be the Festival palette. This is the one I've been wearing a lot lately. I've been wearing just them as singles. Like I wore this one all on its own. This white one is dynamite on the inner corner. It's so brightening. This yellow one is really lovely. But I find them to be too pigmented, and the shimmers are just way over the top. I make a mess every time I use these, but I started using it more as single eyeshadows. So I just wanted to shout out this brand right now because I've really been loving it. Although I didn't discover it this year, it's something that I'm really coming around to loving. I'm hoping next year I can either, I don't know. We'll see what happens next year with all these palettes I have. Maybe I'll keep some and not keep all of them. But I just wanted to shout out the formula because I'm really coming around to it and kind of learning how to use it more. And I'm sorry I ever thought it wasn't that good. And that is it, my friends. Those are all the products that just missed the cut for one reason or another. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I will see you later in another one. That was a quick outro, I guess. All right, see you later.